Hi ladies, today I wanted to talk to you about two things, the downside and the upside of statistics around IVF and IUI. So, as some of you already know, the statistics for IVF and IUI success is not fabulous. And it's actually funny because this was the first time last week that I actually looked up statistics about success rates. And I was shocked. I didn't realize how different it is between 35 and 40 years old. So 35 years old, 13% IUI success rate, 54% IVF success rate. This is according to extendfertility.com. Over 40 drops to 4% IUI success rate and 8% IVF success rate. So those numbers are not encouraging, and you can shift that. So there were some studies done with a doctor named Dr. Alice Daumert, who worked in Beth Israel and was also affiliated with Harvard. And she did these tests on women who were going through IVF and their mood. And they found that women who had depression or depression-like symptoms had a drastic reduction in their IVF success rates. And let's be real, so many women, who are going through this, are battling mental, emotional health challenges. And it is not your fault. It is not your fault. And also, having trouble with your fertility is also not your fault. So, and you might be saying, well, why is that? Well, we are subjected to everything around us, how we're raised, the environments that we're living in a post-industrialist society. It's not your fault. And you should not beat yourself up, because one woman might not have any trouble, but for some reason your endocrine system responded differently to what's happening out there with the amount of chemicals and toxins we are subjected to on a daily basis. Something happens in our immune systems and a switch goes off. It's as simple and complex and absolutely ridiculous as that. So first of all, it's not your fault. And second of all, I want to say that you can impact your mental health during this process. You have the tools. Well, you have the power to do that. You have the power and the authority to say how this goes down. Like, how is this going to go down for you? Like, how is this process going to go for you? And how are you going to respond to it? Right? Like, what are you going to do to respond to what's being thrown at you, right? So one of the most powerful things, I think, are the stories that we tell ourselves. And the stories that we tell ourselves can be really, really small. And what I mean is, like, they create a place for us to live in that's that tiny. Or we can create a story about our life and what's happening with us and our journey that's big enough for us to live inside of. So the first question you want to ask is the story that you're living in big enough for you? Is it big enough to hold you? Is it big enough to elevate you? Or is it small? Is there no room for you to stretch and move and be you and enjoy your life? Like, that is a choice that you can make. And you can find tools to help you recreate that. And I'm not saying that this doesn't suck. I'm not saying it at all. But I'm saying that consider that this struggle for you is a spiritual path. And what I mean is that a spiritual path is when we go through something usually tumultuous. And it brings all of our stuff to the surface. It brings all of our challenges. It brings out all of our insecurities, all of the thoughts we have about ourselves that aren't true, all of the things that we project onto life that maybe aren't true, but what's happening in our life is somehow making those things true again. I don't know if you're following me or if you get what I'm saying, but if you have a thought that you're a failure, for some reason, you have this thought that you're a failure, it actually originates in nothing important. It's a belief that you have about yourself. Maybe you're aware of it, maybe you're not. And then you have this happen to you, then all this process does is reaffirm your belief. It emboldens your belief about yourself that you are a failure. So your work is to unravel that, because that is a story that is not true. There is no such thing as being a failure. There is failing at things, but there is no such thing as being a failure. It's a concept that we have created. And there could be many different pieces of this for you. There could be many layers. But what I find in my work with women is that there are issues that are bigger than fertility that come up during this process and they're not getting addressed. So you keep going through this process. You keep going through this process feeling like you're not capable, feeling like you're broken, feeling like your body fails you, feeling like your body can't do this, feeling like you deserve this, feeling like, God hates you. But none of those things are true. The only thing that is true is that you believe it, and therefore you create your reality around it. So, I believe you can transform these IVF and IUI success rates. I believe that you get support from a coach who helps you identify these limitations that are coming up on the spiritual journey for you, and you look at that shadow. This is what we call the shadow. Everyone has a shadow. This is the shadow. If we look at the shadow and we release the shadow and we are in conversation with it, then we can unlock ourselves from the struggle on top of the struggle. So you have the fertility challenge, but that's not actually what's causing you the suffering. What's causing you the suffering is how you talk to yourself about it, what you believe about yourself, what you think about God, what you think about life and meaning. Because we're always going to find a way to confirm a belief that we have about ourselves. We'll always be able to find it. If you have a negative belief about yourself, you can always find something that will reaffirm it. I would love to help you do this work, and this is the work that I do in my course. So if you want to liberate yourself, from this experience and really figure out what you need to do on a body, mind, and spirit level, I would love to help support you, because I am passionate about liberating people, especially women who are trying to conceive. I am passionate about helping you get out of your own way. Just imagine how much less suffering you would have in this journey if you didn't beat yourself up. So the bad news is that these things can affect the outcomes of your procedures. The good news is that you can change it. You have the power to change it. Nobody has the power to tell you, other than you, about your capability. So, I hope this helps you feel good today. Get in touch with me. Send me a DM if you want to talk more. All right. Sending you lots of love.